Hi, I'm Kennedy, and for my scenario, I decided to teach my dog how to talk using buttons. This is my dog Nellie. She is 1.5 years old, and she is a Malamuto. So she is half Alaskan Malamute, half Standard Poodle. We got her in January of 2020 as my birthday present, and she has been very intelligent ever since we got her. By 8 weeks old, she was able to sit and come on command. The buttons that she is using right now are an outside button and also a bed button. I plan to add more buttons as time goes on. The strategies I used to train Nellie were repetition, reward systems, and relying on the buttons. So what I mean by relying on the buttons is she has other signals that she uses to tell us that she wants to go outside, such as walking back and forth from us to the door, as well as scratching on the door. She would do these, and we would try just to ignore her until she would use her button. And then praise her when she did press her button. For repetition, sorry. Um, I would do the same thing for multiple training sessions. So if you were looking to train your dog, you could have planned training sessions with them to work on getting them to use their buttons and work on the same thing more than once during different training sessions to make sure that they have the hang of it, and after they have the hang of that one thing, then move on, but just repeat that same thing over and over until they fully understand it and they fully get what you're trying to have them do. For reward systems, I would give Nellie treats when she would use her button or when she would do the right thing while I was training her. So when she's very good at shaking, so when I would have her learn to press the buttons and understand what the button was for, every time she would press the button, whether it was just during a training session or like actually just during the day to use her button, I would give her treats and praise her to reward her and show her that that is what I want her doing and to make her understand that she's doing a good job. There's a few problems I had ran into while training where she was stubborn with the buttons and she wasn't very interested at first. So the one thing that really did help with this was the reward systems, like I was talking about. Getting her interested in giving her treats afterwards because there was something in it for her rather than just us. I think she enjoyed when she was able to press the buttons because I feel like she enjoys being able to talk to us and tell us how she is feeling and what she wants to do at that moment. Um, so I think the reward systems really helped her kind of be less stubborn with the buttons and actually interested in them and interested in using them for us. Um, this is one of the videos I have of her using her button.
Good.
She definitely knows and acknowledges when she does press her button. Once she presses her button, she will turn around and look at us. Um, and she acknowledges that she pressed it and she wants to go outside, and she fully understands what her outside button means. So that has helped a lot that she understands what it's for and gets excited when she does the right thing. This is another video I have of her pressing her button.
Good girl, Nellie.
For this one, she had pressed it a couple times. She was kind of sitting by the door and scratching on the door, and I noticed that she was probably going to use her button, so I started recording, and she ended up pressing it, and I do believe she was a little bit frustrated that I didn't like acknowledge her scratching on the door because she pressed it more than once and then looked at me like, okay, let's go outside. So yeah, I thought that was just kind of funny. For the outcome of the two buttons, I've mostly been talking about the outside button, and that's what both of my videos have been. So for that one, she's been using it up to 3 times per day. It's about 12:30, and I think she's used it about 4 times now. She definitely understands what the buttons means, and she acknowledges and tells us, yes, I want to go outside when she does press her button, and she's using the button more than just a last resort, as like when we were ignoring her other signals, she was kind of using the button more of like a last resort type thing because we were ignoring her other signals, but now she's actually starting to use those buttons more than just that. For her bed button, she's a little more stubborn with that. Most of our training sessions haven't been as, I guess to say, real almost with her bed button because other than training a little bit at night, most of it has been during class where I've just kind of had her press her button and then took her upstairs to my room where we go to sleep. But I do think maybe those night, I'm going to plan to train a little more at night now that summer's coming, where I will have like more time to train at night so she can fully understand what the button means and what it's for. Um, she will use it a few times every so often, but it's more of a button that she doesn't seem like she likes to use, and I'm not sure she fully understands what the bed button means. When I had first set her buttons out, the bed button was the first one she ended up pressing, but I don't think she really understood what it means. She's starting to understand, but it definitely needs still some more work. My plans for after scenario are to continue working with Nellie and get her using that bed button more, as well as just continue with her using her outside button. I plan to add more buttons as time goes on. I do have a play button laying out, but it's been kind of a later focus. The outside button and her bed button have been my main focuses. Her play button hasn't been used too much. I haven't had as much training time with her with that button, but I do plan to work on it more after scenario and also hopefully add more buttons as she gets used to that. And I also want to try to interest my other dog, Sadie, in using her buttons, and in hopes that Nellie using her buttons will also kind of interest her to use her buttons as well. She's only 7 months old, so I didn't really want to start any of that in my scenario project. I got her in November, so I had already started using and teaching Nellie how to use her buttons when we had got Sadie, and she's, like I said, still a puppy, so I want to let her age a little more and get a little more mature before I start training her to use her buttons. These are my resources that I used for my scenario project. And I just finally wanted to say thank you, and I hope you have a great night.